Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sheep Get Sheared Podcast. I'm your host, Austin Creed. My friends, before we get into today's show, I just want to say it's been fantastic to be back on video, which I haven't been in a long time because of my job, but I used to have. No, I used to be moving around and traveling in my car quite a bit. But it's so funny that the minute I come back to, live video and I start talking about politics again, which I really haven't because I've been talking more about relationships recently, immediately all the left wingers jump down my throat about how I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know anything about Christianity. All these, I love it. All the weak Christians who've had their weak pastor tell them that God is Mr. Rogers and he's all about love and turn the other cheek. Basically, the Christians that want to go extinct, essentially, want to come into my comment section and lecture me with their baby view of the world, which I find very cute. But please go back to Sunday school because your teacher's waiting for you. You're not grown enough to have this conversation, so please go back. Please go back to your rainbow flying flag Methodist type church. Thank you very much. Um, Now that we've gotten that out of the way, I think first thing I want to do is really go back to what we were talking about before, which is the political arena and how it affects your life. Because why? Because my friends, if you're anything like me, you're kind of sick of the politics, but at the same time, you can't stop listening to it. Like it's an addiction. It's like a toxic relationship where as soon as you get out, they pull you right back in. Anybody seen The Sopranos? Sopranos is a great show. It was started before I was born because I'm only 25, but it started before I was born, but it's such a great show, even though it's all about Italian stereotypes. But speaking about stereotypes today, I wanted us to look at the news of the day right quick. First things first. Does anybody have any opinions about the Greenland situation? Because I have a couple things I want to say about it. First thing, I hate senators like Mark, the type of person who, no matter what Trump does, he's no good. Types. Now, I want to make one thing clear. I think the way that Trump's approaching this is really bad. That I will admit to. It's imperialistic by any stretch of the imagination, which, it worked 100 years ago. It worked even 50 years ago. It doesn't sell today. Donald, I'm sorry, but this is not the way to go about it. Could we take what we want? Duh. Of course we could. We could take Canada if we wanted to. Canada's not relevant. The only reason they're relevant is because they live next door to us. Same thing with Mexico, by the way. But when I read right here that Denmark's deploying we got French troops, Norwegian troops, Finnish troops, UK, Netherlands. I mean, let's be clear. The so-called joint military exercise is a bunch of rubbish. Without us and without old Adolf betraying the Russians and the Soviets during World War II, every one of these countries will be flying a swastika. Okay? So the very fact that they're out here like, oh, we're going to stop the Americans. If we really wanted to take Greenland, my friends, we could take it. We could take it with relative ease. It wouldn't be that hard. I don't care. And Europe couldn't do jack about it. What are they going to do? Nuke us? Please go ahead. Please go ahead and try because you have nothing. You have nothing. You have nothing against nothing. You can't do anything to us. I'm sorry. You lost that fight in World War II when Hitler steamrolled over all of you. You haven't been anything. You needed us to bail you out, and then you needed the Germans to betray the Russians. But when I read that the move follows failed talks, so, I know a lot of people love Vance. I don't dislike Vance. I don't like him. I don't think he's the future of the Republican Party. Let me start with that. I don't think that Vance is the forerunner for the Republicans after Trump leaves office after his second term, which he will. This whole thing about joking about a third term doesn't exist. It's a bunch of garbage. But let's be clear. I don't think he's the future of the Republican Party at all. Zero. Why do I say that? He's not. He has great savage moments that I'll give him, but he's not likable. He doesn't have that vast appeal that Trump does. I'm sorry. I know you want to like him, and if you like him, God bless you. But I thought that I dislike him. I just don't. I don't think that he's the next Trump. Let me put it to you like that. I was actually. It's funny. So I'm a nerd. I'll admit that to you guys straight up. And all of you bullies who want to bully me, go right ahead. I have dealt with it my whole life. But I'm a nerd, and so I like to listen to old tapes. So let me show you something. Um, Let me show you something. So when I come onto here, right, you might notice right down here. So Michael Savage is live as well. I love Mike. I listened to him when I was a kid. I even listen to his old tapes now because he's fantastic. Hey, he's not in the Radio Hall of Fame for nothing. I'll tell you that right now. But I was listening to some of his old stuff in 2013, if you can believe it, because it's on YouTube. And I was like, what else am I going to listen to on YouTube? Go on to YouTube, and I'm listening to him, right? And he's back in the later part of November in 2013. So this is before Trump became what he is now and incredibly relevant, right? And he's talking about Chris Christie, of all people, and how he was the future of the Republican Party because he was a moderate, which at the time made sense because this was before Trump became mainstream, before he ran against Hillary Clinton. But it got me thinking about, this is what people were talking about in the mainstream and outside, in talk radio before Trump, when I was 13 years old. Now we have what's going to be happening after 2020. What is it? It's 26, so 28. At 28, who's going to run for the Republicans? Because Trump can't run again. No matter what he's joking about, he can't run. So who's going to run for them? Trump Jr.? Like, who's going to run? Who do the Republicans have? I don't think that Vance can do it. Now, if we go over back to the story, I think they're warming up Marco Rubio, to tell you the truth. I never really liked Rubio. I always figured he was kind of more of a sellout. The way to push amnesty, because he has a Hispanic last name. But, I have nothing against the man personally. I don't think he's the future of the Republican Party. I don't. I think that the Republican Party has largely lost the Hispanic vote for a very long time because of everything that's happening with ICE. But when I see this happening with Greenland, first of all, this whole thing with Greenland is such a non-issue because if we really want it, we could take it. It's really not that hard. NATO is so irrelevant that we have to remind them to pay 2% of their GDP per the agreement they signed to even be in NATO in the first place. They have to pay 2%. We're paying so much more than that, but they're not relevant. They couldn't stop us if they wanted to, which I can guarantee you they don't want to. It's all show. Let me put it to you like this. They couldn't stop the Russians. They needed us to funnel money to Ukraine. They needed us to give our Stinger missiles, our Javelin missiles, our old Abram tanks. They needed us to give our equipment to Ukraine because they can't, because they're weak. NATO can't do jack to stop us if we really wanted it. But to be honest, Mr. Trump, I think you're making a huge mistake on this personally. Because at the end of the day, there's not a ton of reason to take Greenland when it comes to the long term. And even if we did, I would have gone with a little more of a diplomatic approach, considering that of course we could take it, but that doesn't mean we need to take it. But here's what I want to talk about next is this story right here. So first of all, I cannot stand these left-wing vermin. I am so sick and tired of these scumbag left-wingers in America who are in these ICE raids, who are interfering and take courses on how to mess with ICE and try to not get arrested. I'm so sick of them. You want me to have sympathy for these people? You want me to have sympathy for people like this? Let's listen to this.
What can you tell us about your injuries now and the prognosis? Will you be blind in that eye for life?
From what I've heard the doctors say and everyone else, yes, I will be blind for life. They said my globe was ruptured. I had my lower
Look
lid
at the painted fingernails.
Cut up, and they had to take skin from my temple to fix it. There's a lot to it. I don't remember all the things that they said.
I don't trust a man who has a high voice. Let me start with that. Second of all, look, this is a horrible situation. I don't like that people are getting hurt. I really don't. However, here's the problem. People like this, who wear Antifa stuff, they think they're fighting the war, they're part of the resistance, they're doing all these things. They are the fascists. They're the ones using violence to get what they want, not ICE. ICE is doing their job that the people elected Donald Trump for them to do. They're not the fascists. They're not the Gestapo that the media and the social mediaites are putting out there. They're doing their job. They're arresting human traffickers. They're arresting pedos. They're arresting murderers. They're arresting gangbangers. And here you have these low-life pieces of human trash stopping them as if, oh, I'm going to fight the power. No, what you're doing is protecting criminals. You're protecting illegal aliens. You're protecting human traffickers. You're protecting murderers. These same people right here with faces just like this, they think that they're the freedom fighters. They think that they're Captain America, but they're not. And you know what? If you're going to be out here pretending like a Captain America and you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen as far as I'm concerned. And I'm so sick and tired of having to use kid gloves on these vermin. I'm so sick and tired of ice. God bless ice, man. I don't understand how these people deal with these scumbag vermin every single day. I really, really don't know how they deal with these lowlifes. I don't. Every single day. First of all, Renee Good got what she deserved as far as I'm concerned. You can take that to the bank. Yeah, her gay girlfriend talking about, oh, drive, babe, drive, while the ICE agents are right in front of her. And you think they're gonna let you just run them over? Oh yeah, just run me over with your car. Oh yeah, that's fine. Oh, and by the way, the guy had already gotten hit by another person and already drug, but you didn't hear about that, did you? Let's see. In Minnesota, separate ICE raids targeting undocumented immigrants, you mean illegal aliens, with criminal records, what did I just say, has sparked violent protests. That's a nice way to put it. You mean how they're basically antagonizing the police, egging on ICE to try to get a lawsuit money out of it, and all the lawyers are sitting there on the sidelines salivating over it? Rock throwing. Oh, suddenly protests include rock throwing. Oh, yes. That's called a riot. It's called assaulting officers of the peace. It's called a crime. If you're a right-winger and you do it, you go to jail, and it's a right-wing riot where they're trying to take over the country. But if the left-wingers do it, it's just a violent protest. It's called a riot, you schmucks. It's called a riot. Learn the English language before you write on social media. All right, what we got? Shooting them in the leg. Oh, you mean he didn't shoot him in the head? Not that he should have, but at least they're... After all this stuff, see, this is what I'm talking about. 113,000, let's say, 1,300% increase in assaults on agents. Huh, I wonder who caused this. I wonder who's responsible. Oh, good old would have been Vice President Tim Walz coming on against ICE. How shocking. Oh, how shocking. Mr. Creepy Weirdo, in my opinion, out here talking about how, ooh, we like illegal aliens because they keep me in power, allegedly. Oh, and if you don't think illegal aliens vote, then if you can't add 1 + 1, I don't know what to tell you. Why else do you think these creeps don't want voter ID laws? Well, you think they don't want voter ID laws because they're so pure and so great? When are you going to add 1 + 1 and come up with 2, you schmucks? You really don't, you can't put 1 + 1 together and come up with 2? You need me to do it for you? And then you have people like this keep fighting as if who are you fighting? You're fighting the government. You're fighting people who are trying to help you get rid of the criminal. Okay. I gotta know something. If you're a leftist or even a centrist with more left-wing leanings and you're listening to the show, I have a question for you. And it's not a gotcha question. I genuinely want to know. You hate Trump, right? Because Trump's supposedly a pedo. He's supposedly evil. He's supposedly a liar. He's supposedly a criminal. He hates women, all this stuff, right? Right? We agree on that that's what you think? Okay, good. So then why is it that the same people who say that they hate Trump for being all these things, they will protect illegal aliens with the same background? Huh? They'll protect illegal aliens who are human traffickers. They'll protect illegal aliens who are gangbangers, criminals, murderers, scumbags. And yet they call Trump a scumbag and they hate him.
What?
Why? Just why? I don't understand how it's possible. That makes no sense at all. Nothing.
Screw you, hippie!
I don't understand how you can have this mindset. How can you be a sane person and have this mindset? I don't understand how it's possible to have this mindset. I sincerely don't get it. Could someone explain it to me? How you can believe that Trump is evil because he's this, that, and the other, and yet protect illegal aliens who have the exact same criminal background? Why? I don't understand. It's either one or it's the other. You can't have it both ways. You can't say that you hate Trump because he's this, that, and the other, and he's committed all these crimes, and yet defend illegal aliens from ICE who have the same background. You can't. How does it make sense? Well, per what good old Dr. Savage said 20 years ago, liberalism is a mental disorder, and that's exactly what it is. You see, you would be forgiven if you thought that, oh, well, people just want what's best for others. You know, they are compassionate, the left-wing people. They're just compassionate. You know, right-wingers have their own problems, don't get me wrong. But the left-wing, they talk about how they have the moral high ground, and they care about the children and the immigrants and all these people, right? No, they don't. They don't care about the immigrants. They don't care about the children. They care about themselves. They care about the money. They care about the power. They don't care about them. If they did that, then they'd care about the fact that they're basically feeding them over to the creeps. They're feeding them over to the people who would abuse them. Why? Why would you do that? Well, because they don't care. But they act like they do, which is worse. My friends, the left wing in America is the exact antithesis of everything you think it is. You think that's because they care about the climate, which is conservatives should care more about the climate, in my opinion. I don't understand where this idea came from that the left is the only people that care about the environment, because that's nonsense. We as conservatives should care way more about the environment. The fact that we've let the left wing in America take this issue over from us is a disgrace. It should never have happened. We need to return back to what Teddy Roosevelt did. That's what we need right in the Republican Party. Because I'm fully against it, by the way. I fully am against what the conservatives do to the environment. I don't like smoking my cigars and drinking my alcohol and asking all the fish to die. It's stupid. And all the whaling, overfishing, hunting animals just for sport and not for food. I think the whole thing is disgusting, personally. No, I don't think I have anything wrong against you if you hunt and you eat the animal. But if you just hunt for fun and you leave it there, then you're a scumbag. Low life, gutter trash. And here's the problem. When's the last time that you heard people like Trump say that they'd take the moral high ground? Overwhelmingly, you don't hear that as much as what you hear from the left wingers, where they talk about how, oh, we're the moral party. We need to do this and we need to do that to protect the people. You know, bleeding like a bunch of sheep. My friends, here's the problem. You need to stop trying to ascribe logic, because there's not logic involved in this conversation. As much as I would love to say there is, there just plain isn't. So what you need to do is you need to really reflect. You need to analyze yourself, and you need to come to the conclusion in your own mind of what you choose to believe. What do you think is right? And, you know, when you see posts like this, I have nothing against this at face value. I think everybody who legally can have arms should have arms. I have nothing against this inherently. Now, if you use it to commit a violent crime, then yes, I have a problem with it. But at the face value, I have nothing wrong with this. This doesn't offend me. It offends me if you're going to use it against what I believe in and the people who don't deserve it. But at face value, saying that people should be armed, whether they're minorities or not minorities or anything else, what's wrong with that? I don't see any issue with that. Nothing. I don't see any issue with that. And oh my land, look at crap like this, man. It says, today my child declared he's a pirate, so I'm taking him to the doctor to amputate his leg and give him a peg leg. In other words, she's making fun of the gender affirming care, which is funny. And then down here you have, better to be a pirate than a Nazi like his parents. The word Nazi means nothing anymore coming from the left. Nothing. It means nothing. You've used it so much, it means absolutely nothing. The word has lost all meaning, lost all potency, everything, because it's overused. It's overused and undervalued. What does it even mean anymore? Do people even realize that they call themselves socialists, but then say that the right wingers are the Nazis? Do they not understand that? That the Nazis were socialists? Do they not understand that? Yes, they were nationalists, sure, but they were socialists too. By the way. Oh, and by the way, old AH, the head of the party at the time, was a teetotaling vegan who was a pagan and was addicted to meth. How many people do you know who are right wingers who fit that description? Probably none. So, again, my point exactly, people don't know what they're talking about, which is normal. Yes, and you have the feminists, of course, who come out and they act like, oh, if you're not a feminist woman, then you're a failure as a woman, which is so funny to me. I thought the whole thing was about choice. I thought the whole thing was supposedly about choice. If the whole thing was about choice, then why are you so offended when someone chooses to do something different than you? Can you explain that one to me? Why is it that if it's not the choice you like, it's suddenly bad? Left wingers are so disgusting to me in a lot of ways because they believe lies and then they form their whole worldview off of the very lies that they believe, as opposed to searching the truth. They like what feels good as opposed to what will challenge them, and then they will go with what they want to believe, regardless of whether it's actually objectively true or not. Now, right wingers do this too, so everybody should stop doing it. Problem is, it's just overly obvious in the left wingers than it is in the right wingers. There's fake news on both sides, don't get me wrong. The problem is the left wingers, they are not willing to coexist with people who are different than them overwhelmingly because they don't believe in doing it. They don't understand that you can't just get rid of people you don't agree with. I don't want to get rid of the people who are left wingers. I'd love to hear what they have to say and tell them that they're wrong, because they usually are. But that doesn't mean I want them to have something horrible happen to them, because I don't. It's just sad that we live in a world in which they call right wingers Nazis, and then they act like that's not. Let me put it to you like this: if you can go back in time and get rid of AH, would you do it? You probably would. Most people would, because that's the logical thing to do, and that would include me. Here's the problem: you take that line of logic and then you start calling everybody else that you don't like Nazis. Guess what? You end up with what happened to Charlie Kirk. You end up with the amount of political violence that we see coming out of the left wing in America, where you have polls telling you that they overwhelmingly agree with political violence. And I'm not making this up. If you want me to provide receipts, I'm happy to do it. The problem is we don't have the peaceful society that we wish we had, which we should have, because the left wingers are overwhelmingly violent. Doesn't mean every single one of them is. It means overwhelmingly the political fascism is coming from the left, not from the right. All you gotta do is look at the streets. My friends, you let me know. You think I'm wrong? I don't think I am. But you can feel free to change my opinions if you think that I'm wrong. Let me know what you think. Till then, I'm out of here. Peace out.